Field, and I'm fortunate enough to serve the University of Kentucky and UK HealthCare as the Vice President, Chief Clinical Operations Officer here in Lexington. And I want to welcome everyone as we meet a family with a very exciting first Mother's Day weekend coming up. Please allow me to introduce our proud and very busy new parents, Brianna and Jordan Driscoll of Versailles, here at the far right of the table, the left as you look at it. In a moment, you'll hear from the Driscolls about their journey in getting to this day. You'll also be hearing from members of our excellent team here at UK HealthCare and the Kentucky Children's Hospital that will be providing information about the care of and delivery of the Driscoll Quintuplets and the mother, Brianna. I would like to introduce Dr. Peter Giannone, Chief of the Division of Neonatal Medicine at the Kentucky Children's Hospital. Dr. Quinetta Johnston, she's an obstetrics fellow here at UK HealthCare. One of our missions is to teach, and I think that we do that well, and Dr. Johnson is a fine example of that. And Dr. Wendy Hansen, who's chair of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. We also want to welcome several family members of the Driscolls who are able to be here today, and thank the many members of the UK HealthCare team who are able to join us here, both seated and standing in the back, that help the delivery as well as in the ongoing care for mom and the 5 babies. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Hansen.
Okay. So I am a maternal fetal medicine physician, and I care for women who might have a complication of pregnancy or multiples, as in Brianna's case. So we first met you with 5 babies
Yes.
in that first trimester when you were so ill. And really, we have a team of physicians, we have a great team of nurses, with Anita Taylor over here leading that both on our inpatient side and our outpatient side. You were in the hospital for a few weeks that first time. And sick as can be, right?
It was awful.
But you got past that.
I did.
Got home for quite a while.
I did.
Until
around 16 weeks.
Yeah. Until we brought her back in the hospital.
At 22 weeks. Yeah.
She remembers everything.
Oh, every little detail, I promise.
Right. And during that time, she met all of us as physicians, our nurses, right?
Yes.
As we tried to make your new home.
They were like my family.
I know. And so you were in the hospital for how long near the end?
If you include the week in December that I was here and also the week in January, along with my long stay, I was here for about 10 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
But with really, honestly, the work of you both, right? Because it takes a lot of support, not only medically, but of course all that great psychosocial support.
Oh, yes.
Right? And you got to how far?
I got to 28 weeks and 3 days.
So pretty far, right? Yes. So pretty amazing story.
Very thankful.
Until she needed to have a C-section.
I did.
For those 5 babies, and we were able to deliver 5 babies. Dr. Johnson was actually present for that delivery. I was not, one of my partners, and really a group of nurses. But if you think it's something to do a section for 5 babies, imagine now 5 preemie babies that come out all at once, maybe within just a few minutes.
Yeah, 4 minutes of each other.
Yeah,
4
they
minutes?
came out.
Is that
4 minutes.
4 minutes from the first to the last?
That's right.
All right, good job, Dr. Johnson.
She did wonderful. Yes.
All right. So with that, we get to, well, it wasn't quite that easy, but we get to turn it over now to Dr. Giannone and his team.
So our NICU is the region's only level 4 NICU for that designation, which is the highest designation that you can have for NICU care. So we're always prepared for these kind of complex cases and multiple births. We have a group of outstanding NICU nurses that are always in the NICU working hard.
Yes.
I'd just like to recognize a few of them that actually came with us down to the delivery room to help care for these babies right after they were born. Our team manager was Angel Kress, and some other nurses that came down were Whitney Lynn, Beth Warren, Sandy Oney, Ellen Jones, Kendra Murray, Amy Ratcliffe, as well as Jessie Linville came down and helped as well. So we were prepared from pretty much at 23 weeks gestation with a special call schedule to have. So we'd have 5 attendings present to come in for the delivery of these high-risk babies. And It ended up being pretty easy because they delivered during the day, so we had plenty of
Yeah.
people around.
You're welcome.
But still, my team, my team stepped up and, you know, as always, did a wonderful job without complaining, taking the extra call. So I think that we've had a really good outcome so far for the babies. They all have their breathing tubes out. They're all getting feeds, and they're all starting to grow. So I think that's a pretty neat Mother's Day present for this weekend.
Very much so.
So with that, Dr. Johnson, would you like to say something?
I was just going to say that I was just really lucky in being able to not only participate in Brianna's care from a medical standpoint, but as an emotional support person. There was often times that I would go in and sit with her for 30 minutes to an hour just laughing and joking with her, just trying to make her smile.
That was my highlight of the day.
She would demand sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was, we would joke when I would go out of town that she would stay pregnant until I got back. So
Legs crossed.
it has been a very amazing experience, and as a maternal fetal medicine fellow, I just can't thank them enough for allowing me to be a part of such an amazing experience. So.
Oh, well, we thank you so much because you were absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely.
So, we'd like to open it up for any questions that you may have of the Driscolls or the healthcare delivery team.
Don't all jump at once.
So what are the odds of having 5 babies?
Very, 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 very slim. Obviously, fertility treatments help out with that, but even with that, it's still very slim. I'm sorry, I don't have a specific percentage for you.
I bet there's somewhere between maybe 30 to 50 quintuplets born a year in the U.S. Not very many. And of course, the biggest risk is prematurity. So that getting her to that point, getting and delaying sort of birth as long as we could, which was, as you can imagine, not an easy task for her,
No.
right?
No.
She made it, she just made it really, 28 weeks was your like goal, right?
Yes.
And you made it past
I
that.
know.
Yeah.
So
Every
thankful.
day that the babies stay inside the womb, they come out more mature and stronger. So it makes my job a lot easier to take care of those babies. So Dr. Hansen's team and the family did a wonderful job getting as far along as they did.
Is this UK's second quintuplet delivery? UK Hospital's second quintuplet?
So it is, this past year, so I can't remember, when was the other delivery? November, I think, of 2016. We also had a mom with quintuplets that delivered here.
You just mentioned some pretty big odds. What does
Right.
that mean to have two coming to you guys?
I think it means a little bit of a cluster, right? I mean, often with any statistics. And I also think it means that, we are the state's sort of flagship of where you want to come if you have multiples like this or a complication, because we do have these great teams of nurses and doctors and all of the other staff support to take care of something like this.
Is there something in the water?
Must be.
Must be.
How did that birth in November prepare you all for this one?
That's a great question. So, part of it is really the organization, right, for the birth. So we had, with the lead of Peter's team and our team, including our nurses, at 23 weeks, they had a call schedule. We were ready. We actually moved some things so that, just imagine the space that you need for 5 separate babies in teams, right? And they had all of that worked out. So it actually seemed a little easier, at least in the planning process, I would say, because we had done it.
In
I
our
think
eyes,
another-
it was kind of a breath of fresh air because we knew that they were taking care of business and we didn't have to worry about that. So it was nice.
I think one of the things that's been really helpful with these complex cases is that we now have a service line, Dr. Hansen's team and my team, constantly working together to improve the care of mothers from conception all the way through delivery here at UK, and even with their infant follow-up. So we're in constant communication, always working as a team, and I think that just makes things much more seamless and pulled this off without a hitch again.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, do you want to talk a little bit about just the overall process? I saw that you had said previously, like, you couldn't believe that all of those babies fit inside.
How? Really, how? Yeah, because you have to think, not only were there 5 babies, they all had their own placentas and their amniotic fluid sacs, and there was 5 cords. And yes, I got big, but not for what you would think for 5 babies. So, honestly, it's a miracle. I honestly have no idea how all of that fit inside of me. I look at them laying there every day, and I'm just in awe. I don't know.
There's reality shows out, daughter, just parents going through
Yeah.
the life of multiple children.
Yeah, we watched those.
What has been your reality show, if you will, at home?
Well, honestly, we've been offered a few shows that we've declined. It's not really,
Our thing.
yeah, not really our cup of tea, but everybody on those shows seems to have such a wonderful life, and it's so nice to watch just to get an idea of what we're in for, you know, and get ideas of how they deal with everything, and it's honestly, it's very helpful. I am part of a couple Facebook groups with multiples, and to speak with those other parents is beyond helpful. It made me feel a little bit more prepared as to what I was getting myself into as well, so that was very, very comforting. And they're all more than willing to help out with any questions that you have, so that is fantastic, and I'm very thankful for them.
Brianna, if you could talk about the first time you got to lay your eyes on the babies.
Oh, wow. There were some complications with my C-section, so I actually did not get to see them until, was it the day after? The day after that they were born. And waking up, knowing that everybody else had kind of seen my babies before I did was very emotional for me. So when I actually got up there and I was able to see them, I can't even explain the emotion that just came over me. It was unreal. Like, they say you never know love until you have a child, and wow, especially having 5, I mean, it's 5 times over. I just cried and cried. I couldn't even speak. It was unreal.
Could the both of you talk about the 5, their names, and then also, have you seen personality traits already
Oh,
developed?
yes.
Yeah, definitely.
We have a couple feisty ones. Yes,
And we got a couple laid back,
we
more
do.
laid back ones.
It's nice to have a mix.
Yeah.
Well, could you go through all 5?
Sure. So the firstborn was Zoe Hart,
Mhm.
and she's named after my grandmother, who was very little and very feisty, and she follows her footsteps very well. The secondborn was Asher Blaze, and he's a little more chill, but we do have 2 boys, so he's kind of a little bit more high-strung than the other. The third is Holland Grace, and Dakota Faith, and she's pretty chill. She's not too feisty yet.
Yeah.
And the fourth is Gavin Lane, and he is always so laid back with his hands above his head like this, just chilling, hanging out, not
calm
worried about
one.
a thing.
The calm one
Yes.
of the boys.
Legs crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the last one was Holland, and she's pretty feisty herself as well. At first they put like a foam wrap to keep their head, and she kept taking it and just throwing it. She didn't want anything to do with it.
Kind of crawling out of her little
Yeah.
bundle and everything.
She would roll or try to crawl out, so they're always trying to have to put her back where she's supposed to be. So, yeah, they're great. They're doing really well.
Have you had any time to even think about the future or?
No. I'm trying to live one day at a time right now and trying to worry about what we need to do right now. You know, it's still very overwhelming to think I have 5 kids. Like, this was my first pregnancy ever, you know? And to come out with 5 kids, that's a big deal. Especially with no experience. I have nieces and nephews, but 5 kids of my own? Wow. It's a shock.
Yeah.
At what point during your pregnancy were you made aware that you were going to have 5 children?
I was 8 weeks along.
Yeah, it was very early.
Very early. With fertility treatments, you tend to find out earlier than normal. So I'm thankful for that. Yet at the same time, it seemed to make my journey a whole lot longer when you find out that early.
And did it give you time to kind of prepare and transform?
Oh,
your
very
house? Can you
much
talk
so.
about that?
Very, very much so. Obviously, the sooner you learn about something, the more time you have to process it, deal with it, get ready for it, prepare for it, find out information to help you deal with that kind of situation, having 5 babies at once. So, yeah, it was very helpful actually to find out that early. Mm-hmm.
But we have 2 nurseries that are all set up for both of them.
Oh, yeah, we're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each one's got their own bed, and they're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Fertility treatments are notoriously expensive. Is it a blessing in disguise, maybe, that you had multiple children in the pregnancy?
It is. This was actually our 5th fertility treatment, so we ended up getting 1 baby for each time that we tried.
Yeah.
So we eventually got our money's worth. It just took us a little bit longer than we expected.
Kind of worked out in our favor.
I know you said you're kind of living one moment at a time. Is there anything you're kind of getting excited for moving forward, like thinking about when
Oh, for them to come
five,
home.
6, or going
I can't wait for them to come home.
Yeah, because living in this hospital has been kind of crazy between
Yeah.
home, work, and here it's kind of hard to do that.
Yeah. A little bit harder for him because I was kind of stuck here for 2 months anyway,
Yeah.
so he's had to run back and forth a whole lot. He's a trooper.
One of the big milestones that get to look forward to shortly will be bottle feeds.
Oh, yeah.
So in a few more weeks, they'll be ready to start taking those. So that'll be kind of the first big
Yeah.
step
Really
that the babies are going to be
interesting
taking.
how that works out.
Have you kangarooed?
Oh, yes, we finally got to kangaroo with all of the babies. Dakota was our last one that we were waiting on. She has a little bit more trouble with her breathing than the others, but she's still doing great. She's improving every day. And I finally got to kangaroo with her this week for the first time, which was very relieving, and it was great.
Jordan, talk about your role. What's it been like?
Well, it's been pretty hectic. Like I said, living between here, work, mainly work. It's I'm just trying to be supportive with her and the babies, constantly doing everything I can to prepare for them to be home and provide them with the best lifestyle they can have. So that's about the only thing I can do is just, work and do the best thing I can for them. So.
Could you talk about you've been kind of on the outside watching Brianna, watching them take care of her. Just talk about UK and what it's been like seeing them working with your wife.
Yeah, so they've done great. I can't thank them enough because coming into this situation, it was really scary. My wife's having 5 babies. At the very beginning, she's sick, and she has to have fluids pumped into her to keep her very hydrated. And
At home daily.
Yeah,
it
at
was
home.
Bad.
so coming up to UK and seeing them take care of her, it was a relief for me that I didn't have to worry so much about her because they were doing their job and excelling very well. So that was good.
Who made the shirts?
A couple of my friends, my sister, I think it was all the bridesmaids in our wedding, my best friends and family, surprised us with these after the babies were born. So, yeah, we love them and we're very thankful for them. They're very cute. We've had lots and lots of compliments.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fertility treatments. Could you say who did those?
No, I'd rather not. Thank you.
The communities kind of come together in Versailles to
gosh,
help you
yes.
guys out. How has that made you feel?
Oh, wow. I just got cold chills. I can't even explain how thankful and blessed that we are to have so many people willing to help us out. People that we've never met, I've never heard of, and they're going out of their way to make sure that we have everything that we could possibly need to take care of these 5 babies. And I'm so thankful. I cannot thank everybody enough. It's So, such a blessing.
Mhm.
And these two ladies up here,
Those are our parents.
they've got some work cut out for them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little more than they may think.
But they're willing to jump up and definitely
Yes.
pitch in for everything. So
And we're very thankful for that as well.
I have a question for doctors. Obviously, no mother wants to have to see their, child in the NICU, but does that give mothers a chance to physically recover a bit from their surgery, kind of prepare themselves for life at home?
So I think she's going yes.
I said, oh
right?
yeah.
Because, I would say, it's pretty safe to say that it would be very, very rare, probably a century, right? Is that a mom would make it to a point where she would actually deliver and go home with those babies. I think there are a few reports of those in history, but that's kind of the rarity. So I think it does give both parents, actually, a time to get their life a little bit back in order, organized, bond with them, with the security, actually, of nursing, right? Because imagine how scary it would be, right, to have those 5, because it's scary for any first-time parent, right? When you take one baby home, it doesn't matter how it doesn't matter how old you
Right.
are or educated. There is that, I think, awkwardness we've all felt when we're taking one baby home, let alone 5.
I was scared to death when I
Yeah.
Me too. Me too.
We are
and-
too, don't worry.
So I do think it's not just the time, but it's all of the people around who are educating and supporting. Don't you think? Like when you go home, you're going to be prepared, right?
Yes.
And anxious to get them home.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
So
Yeah. And we do a lot of bedside teaching with feeding and holding and things like that. So they get lots and lots of support. So it should definitely be ready when it's time to come home.
Yeah. We hope so, at least.
Are there any other questions? Well, if not, we'd certainly like to congratulate the Driscolls.
Thank you so
and wish you a
much.
happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. I really
times
appreciate
5.
that. Thank you so much.
And thank you to the supporting team, and great thanks to our team of physicians at UK HealthCare and the Kentucky Children's Hospital for helping bring Asher, Dakota, Gavin, Zoe, and Holland into this world.
Thank you guys so much.
thank you.
all right. Good.
Okay.
All right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hey, George, stand up when you see the back of your shirt for a second.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. That's more than okay.
Thanks.